Destiny is the only salvation Bungie has left. Supposedly. We're about to react to a video. That's right. React, Andy. It's been a minute since I've really reacted to other people. We've been reacting mostly to Twitter, but we are getting back into the grind of reaction. That's right. Shout out to Fireblade for getting upset. You know what's funny is when someone gets upset that you're making react content and then bitching about you not making your own content and then not doing the bare minimum of actually looking at the channel that you're bitching on. Like, I get, it's fair to not like reaction content, but I literally had to post links of all the videos for the past week. And then the one reaction, which was that I did to an actual video, since this one, the Crimson Desert one I did for Legendary Drops, this one was Clyde for Marathon. The rest was my own, like my own content reacting to Twitter and the topic and all that shit. So I find it really funny. If you are going to bitch about, you know, reaction, that's fine. But don't come up into someone's channel saying, well, why don't you make your own content? Well, maybe you should learn to fucking look before you just say something.
Let's get ready to
That's right.
rumble.
I'll put you on blast. I'll put you on blast. And then I'm going to hit you with one of these because there's links to all the videos that are my videos and my own reaction to things versus me reacting to someone else. You dumbass. Anyways, again, you don't have to like reacts. That's fine. We're reacting to Reforged Gaming, aka Say No to Rage, which I kind of wish I was around during that drama. Apparently, there's like two truths. One, he was falsely accused for a lot of shit because Christopher Barrett is a scummy douchebag. I think that's the truth. But he also has other shit on the side that he was accused of. And I feel like there's some truth there. I feel like there's truth to both sides. But man, the primo content we could have made back in the day when that drama, damn, it's one of those damn you missed it. But I only see this guy when it's like people are, it's never like in like a not like, oh, word sense. Like, I think people have more respect for Joker and even me in the the Bungie bro community who are vehemently against certain people. I think they have more respect for me and Joker than they do Reforged Gaming. Not to say any shit against him, but I'm just saying, anytime I see anything about this person, it is never positive. It's never positive. Anyways, Bungie is the only thing that can save, Destiny is the only thing that can save Bungie. We're going to watch this because I'm interested. We don't talk a lot about Destiny, so it's always interesting to see some viewpoints outside of just Marathon because we can all agree Marathon is kind of, you know, at this point. At this point, we've kind of, you can, there's a couple topics we can talk about, but we're getting to the point where the well's drying up because it's like beating a dead horse. And that's what Marathon's becoming, a dead horse. Not that it's dead or going to die. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out because Sony decides. But it's definitely, you know, it's going.
So what exactly is next for Bungie? Is this the end of Bungie, or is it a new beginning? It's not really possible to look at the current state of Destiny 2 and Marathon and not have even the slightest feeling of worry, especially looking at how volatile the industry is right now. I mean, the companies are very quick to lay off large portions of their staff or just flat out get closed down. I don't think anybody can look at the Marathon numbers and really pretend anymore. Yes,
I do think there will be consequences for Marathon. I do expect layoffs. I do not think the community, the Marathon, you know, could say it's a success. And for them, it is a success. There's two truths. For the gamer, it is a success. For the company, it may not be a success. These are two truths. These are two realities. Is it successful for gamers? Yes. Is it successful for the business? Probably not. The amount of cost it took to make it, advertise it, and for the fact that you need constant upkeep, and Destiny right now is just a constant drain. It's a net negative, and it's been a net negative because before Marathon came out, guess what? Bungie lost Sony, $204 million. It's been a net negative. And so when you think about that, you know for a fact that there's going to be backlash. There's going to be consequences. Why? Because greedy companies will be greedy. I mean, hell, look at Epic. They are underperforming Fortnite. Every game has been trying to chase and become the next fucking Fortnite, and Fortnite can't even Fortnite anymore. That should tell you, if Fortnite can't do its free-to-play model and it's struggling, live services are just going to be trickling down. Like the effect, you're going to see a lot more layoffs than just Epic Games. You're going to see a lot of live service games cause layoffs. I truly believe we may be in a pendulum phase where we start seeing box products again, which honestly, I'm excited for. I want more of that. Mostly because I'm tired of shitty half-baked live service games that are catered on how much NTX you can cram out the door versus an actual good, product.
Bungie has made assurances in a blog post that the game will be around for years to come.
We'll see.
But
We've
will
heard that
really
before.
Matter with the current player trajectories.
Yeah, we've heard
and
that
what about
before.
Destiny 2? A foreboding update about how June will be the next big drop for content, but with a different name. And the phrasing to me really sounded like this is going to be the last hurrah for Destiny 2.
It
now
does
you
sound like
combine
that.
all this with the fear that the summer of 2026 is when the staff think large portions of the leadership are going to leave when they get their final.
I mean, that was reported by Ian. We've already saw Pete Parsons jump ship. I do think you're going to see him. And the moment you see one singular leader jump ship, it's over. The dominoes are tipped. It's game over. GG. This signals the downfall of Bungie in some way or form, whether it be the OG Bungie and it's absorbed and Sony rewrites it, kind of like how 343 got turned into Halo Studios. I think they'll keep the name Bungie if they keep Bungie in general, but the team itself will probably be rewritten.
Payment from Sony. So is the fast approaching summer the end of Bungie as we know it, or is it a chance for a new beginning? Well, that's what I want to talk about, and if you like this kind of content, be sure to hit like and subscribe. And it feels like Bungie is sort of running in a circle, that you might feel that way, which I think means we have to go back to the beginning.
Oh.
A lot of talk lately about Destiny 1's launch versus Marathon has been causing people to make comparisons. And
yes.
Destiny 1's
I have seen a lot of Bungie bros talk about, even so that people before Cryo Archive came out and said, this is it. People thought that Destiny 1 was bad before Vault of Glass came out. I'm like, we're talking about an extraction shooter versus a MMO, but a first-person shooter looter, right? It's not the same. Two different genres. Vault of Glass you can continue playing over and over again versus Cryo, which is a limited time event. Completely different.
primary problem was that it was barren. They had high sales. They had a lot of intrigue and interest, and tons of people dove in.
Because
but then there was a
Bungie.
very, very high drop-off point of players. It was a grind. There wasn't really anything to do outside of that sort of grind, and nobody really knew what the point of the game was, and the story was a...
That's funny, because even Bungie didn't know, because it was a hot mess. Like, we could agree that Destiny is a good game at base, and it's always been a good game, but the story was all over the place. We can sit there and rose-tinted glasses, like the vibe, the art, the sound, everything about Destiny was great, but it was still a hot mess. Like, again, we can all be honest with ourselves here. It wasn't until later that more content, hell, I don't think personally it wasn't until like other updates that more content being put into the game really added more life to it. And it really got its stride in the Taken King when it completely cemented itself. And that's, I think, when you saw Destiny really shoot in popularity. Because at base, I don't think Destiny, like when it first launched, it was popular and then it died off immediately. Kind of like how, you know, the Red War Destiny 2 launch just completely nosedived. And you could see it in the charts on popularity. Just completely nosedived. that's kind of what happened with Destiny 1 launch. You just whoop, and then Taken King was kind of like the Forsaken for Destiny 2, where it brought interest back. It's interesting that there's patterns that consistently happen with Bungie. It's like you think they'd learn.
A little bit weird. Then Vault of Glass launched and basically gave the game a stay of execution. It created intrigue and interest.
A loop.
People realized,
An
wait a minute,
in-game loop.
they actually can make really, really good content in this game with really cool loot to chase after. A year later, The Taken King comes out, and for many people, and I think probably even for Bungie, it was viewed as what saved the franchise. You could probably even argue that The Taken King saved Bungie as well.
Yep.
And then that sort of set up the road to Destiny 2. You had Rise of Iron, and then you had the Age of Triumph. This was sort of hailed as the golden era of Destiny 1.
Which is sad because at this time, Bungie was making Destiny 2. Like, they started working on Destiny 2, I think, between The Taken King and Rise of Iron. Like, it wasn't long that they had already, like, it's crazy because I don't think they... part of me wonders if Bungie, like, actually thought that The Taken King would do what it did and was that successful. I'm very curious because if they had actually stopped, could they have continued on with Destiny 1 beyond Rise of Iron and continue to make updates and keep Destiny 1 going for longer and then cook more with Destiny 2? I think they could have. I think they had a stride with Destiny 1. They could have kept going and cooking content slowly but surely for, Destiny 2. They could have done some play tests, really get the idea. Like, we're diving way back in some hypotheticals that have nothing to do with the topic, but I'm just saying this is the shit that Bungie needs to do if they're ever going to do Destiny 3. Like, I don't have any faith in Bungie doing Destiny 3. Like, he's saying that Destiny is going to save Bungie. I think Bungie will kill Bungie. Bungie is always messing Bungie up. There is no Destiny killer. There's only Bungie massacring themselves, shooting them in the foot, like self-sabotaging themselves, their greed, their incompetence. It is always something Bungie does that fucks up everything. Now, did Activision from Destiny 1, Destiny 2 have a play? Yes, because I'm sure they wanted to treat Destiny like Call of Duty and have a new game every year or two, and that was probably what the plan was for 10 years, was 2 years a game, 2 years another game, and they would just create, just like Call of Duty. That was I imagine was the goal at some sort. It felt like that because that's how Destiny 2 felt at launch. It was so bare bones and basic. It felt like you played it, you consumed it, and then they would work on the next game. But then Activision didn't make enough money, and they're like, nope, we're cutting it off. We're not even going to bother. We did Destiny 1. We didn't make enough money. We made Destiny 2. We didn't make enough money. Like, 2 strikes. You can go for a third. I mean, you could argue that Marathon's a third strike for Bungie. Halo was... Let's be honest. I'm going to say something. Halo is the only original game outside of maybe the Myth series that really put them in the limelight. Destiny 1, and the Destiny series is good, but it is significantly under popular. Like, is a niche compared to Halo. Halo is game defining, generational defining. You might see some Destiny stuff, like I remember seeing on some bags of Doritos, but I'm talking about you had Bill Gates running around Master Chief. This was generational shit. Advertisement through the fucking roof. Like, though I will say Destiny 1 advertisement was just the live cinematic stuff. And then it went downhill from there. But Halo itself just absolutely, it was probably the prime of Bungie. And then it just started going downhill into Destiny and then Destiny 2. Not to say that there weren't some really highs. We can't ignore Taken King and Forsaken. And even the Final Shape was like a little bit of glimmer of hope into the light. Like, there's moments of shine and potential, but then you have to weed through all the shit, and it's like no one wants to do that.
Then Destiny 2 launches. It's another bad launch. It's another rocky road starting out where they do a community
2 strikes, you out.
And they're
the third one
feedback about the game. And that road leads to Forsaken, which almost similarly to the last time, the DLC that comes out a year later kind of saves the game from failure. After that, it was clear that Bungie was struggling with content output. They needed High Moon Studios and Vicarious Visions to maintain their seasonal format, and it led to some really great pieces of content as well as just good times for the game. Now, all of this, though, is why they did not want to make a Destiny 3, which is about their plan of escape. It's weird to defend decisions that ultimately hurt Bungie as well as Destiny as a franchise, but I completely understand why they were trying to get away from making a Destiny 3. It's been very hard on the company all these years. They had spent...
It's a failed model. Destiny is a failed model. It's not successful. It's not thriving. It's been surviving. It's been surviving since launch. And that's not just a trust me, bro. You look at the fucking data, it's been surviving. Like, you could argue back in these are successes. Like this, for what it was, this was a success. And Shadowkeep, people are still giving, this is when people are giving Bungie the benefit of the doubt because they're by themselves. We blamed Activision for the shitty practices. And as you could tell, it went downhill. I mean, we even got a little bit of comeback with Witch Queen. Lightfall, we felt like, okay, Witch Queen, we're getting some sauce. And then we were immediately, again, we're back into the shitter. And it almost killed it for that period of time. And then the final shape, kind of, everyone's like, you know what? This is the finale. I'm done with your shit. I'm checked out. I don't trust you. I've enjoyed the story. This is the end. The Light and Darkness saga, all this time I've given you, I'm done. And you can tell no one's coming back. It's not sustainable. This is a failed product. Anthem failed because it tried to be, Destiny. It couldn't do it. How many other games have tried to be a Destiny and have failed? Destiny has proven that it is a failed model, which is why no one else is trying to do it. That's why more people are trying to be more like Warframe than anything. I mean, First Ascendant, which honestly did it worse, in my opinion. Some things they did better in Warframe, but most of the time, First Ascendant was worse than Warframe. But plenty of games have been trying to chase that model versus the Destiny model, because anyone that's chased the Destiny model has failed because it's a failed model. Bungie themselves can't even do it. In fact, it was such a failure that they couldn't do it. They could not survive on this model, the Destiny model, without support. They left Activision. And then they couldn't survive, so they sold themselves off to PlayStation. If it wasn't for Sony, Bungie would not exist because they failed. It is time and time again, Destiny, as much as I love Destiny, it is a failed model. And that's why I do not believe that Bungie should be the one doing it. I have hope in Tencent, even though there's obviously blatant issues with that company. I have more faith in them, though, especially with Destiny Rising, to make something that people want and not actually bring excitement back to the actual franchise than I do Bungie. I think Bungie is not capable of doing what we want or need.
And over 10 years just in one franchise. They have a history, and so do other studios, of getting to a point of just kind of being done and wanting to move on to something else. I mean, they did that with Halo. But that's why Marathon releasing feels so strange to me. In the wake of all the incubation projects that put Bungie in the red, and it damaged demand and the cash flow for Destiny 2, they told Naughty Dog what it would take to launch The Last of Us Online. Naughty Dog opted not to do it. It would have required them essentially changing their studio into a live service studio.
If there's anyone that has advice on not to do something, unironically, it is Bungie. If you want to know not to do something, you should ask Bungie, because they are the biggest failures of a developer when it comes to the live service franchise. I have not seen any other game or company that's gotten free lives, get out of the free gel cards, than Bungie with live service. They have had their ass saved multiple fucking times. It is insane.
Seemingly because they would not have been able to launch the game and support what amounted to a game mode with just a small team. So why did Bungie think that they could do it? That's essentially what Marathon is. It's a game mode and a small team, with the unfortunate high production cost price tag attached to it. Paul Tassi has all but said that Bungie told him the budget was over $200 million. How could they possibly have thought they...
I don't think he's directly said that. Let's do a little fact checking. He's basing, that was all based on the actual environment, the gaming corp, general, that and Jason Schreier. These calculations are based on what it is the standard for most games. And we know that most games cost a ridiculous amount, which is why you're seeing more layoffs, because people are trying, these companies are trying to cut and shave off because of how expensive games are becoming to make. Not because anything's widely changing. It's because they're hiring too many people. There's too much bloat. They're trying to do too many things. And most of the time, it's just the most safe bullshit possible, which makes no sense to me. And I'm not saying that about Marathon, but I am saying it's definitely bloated. The amount of costs when I think of Marathon, I think of an early access game. I don't see a game for the $40 price. I see 3 maps and 1.5, because the cryo is like half around the week. It feels like it's an early access game, like Tarkov was when it first came out.
We're going to build and recoup something that costs that much with what they built in Marathon. For now, we have to wait for the Jason Schreier Bloomberg expose on what exactly happened with Marathon and why they shipped something that would almost assuredly commercially fail. It was never going to generate enough revenue as a very narrow and niche and unwelcoming title, given how much it costs to bring it to the market.
It is really
now,
weird.
While we wait for that expose,
it would have made sense. This game makes sense if Destiny is a success. You have a thriving game, and then you can make this, you have the ability, the funds to work on a small niche extraction shooter or whatever game that is like a love project, whatever, right? You have that ability. Bungie never had that ability. They never had the luxury of, we're just going to make a bunch of shit. And it could be niche. They don't have that luxury. They don't.
Say from Jason Schreier, if we ever get it. It feels like all roads are leading to Destiny 3 or nothing at all.
Destiny 3 or
bust.
bust.
The glaring problem with Destiny 3 is not that it would take a while to make. It's that Bungie leadership clearly didn't want to make it. But now, much of that leadership is gone. Pete Parsons, Mark Noseworthy, Luke Smith, even Christopher Barrett. They're no...
Well, another fact check. Both Mark Noseworthy and I believe, Luke Smith, both were working on a spin-off Destiny. It sounded like they wanted to make something new and fresh. That was on the theory board, the thought board, but it never got anywhere, and it was probably canned because of all the mistakes of everyone else, including Pete Parsons. And Luke is like, you know what? I'm done with this shit. And honestly, I don't blame him.
Longer at the company. And as I said earlier, there is a fear that even more leadership is going to leave in the summer, which, whether that happens or not, the summer feels like a fork in the road for Bungie. You either face the inevitable layoffs because you're just not generating enough revenue for your 800-plus person studio, or you enter into some type of publishing agreement with Sony to build Destiny 3. Given that reliable leakers have already claimed Destiny 3 entered into early production, that deal may already have been struck, which could be why the June update and that content for Destiny 2, it kind of sounds like it's going to be a send-off for that game. This could also be like what happened to Bluepoint. If Destiny 3 is in early talks, production, or maybe they're just doing early pitches, if those aren't going well, a shutdown or significant layoffs could be on the horizon. That is essentially
I think there will be layoffs.
Bluepoint. Like they could.
I think at the best, I think Sony will absorb employees. And that's how they made their little PlayStation studios. They took some Bungie employees and put them on the PlayStation team or whatever, LFG team, whatever the hell it's called. And it's a completely different team from Bungie. That's like the best case. I think what's going to really happen is just there's got to be layoffs.
Couldn't get a good pitch or something that looked solvent or viable after they were essentially rejected to do the Bloodborne remake by FromSoft, and so Sony just opted to shut them down. I've said for a while now that the studio is too valuable to shut down. It seems like that would never happen. The institutional knowledge, the data, the infrastructure. Like, Sony may feel a certain kind of way about a really large studio like this not having tangible ROI just yet. In fact, they basically took a $200 million loss on the valuation of the company recently.
Because of
Bungie. In other
Bungie.
words, they could be looking at Bungie and saying, listen, we're going to get our money out of you, one way or another. And probably the best way to do that is a big project like Destiny 3. I do not see them getting their money back with...
Again, the alternative is that they absorb these employees into Sony themselves. Hey, we're going to take these people that have knowledge and we're going to dissolve Bungie and we're just going to have them work on other projects. I mean, you're essentially paying for knowledge. Whether that's smart, I don't think so. I think the name Bungie, I think they will keep the name just for the name, and that's my thought. But who knows? They've shut down two studios. We don't really know. Everything is all theoretical. Everything's kind of up in the air because it's PlayStation. We don't know. We don't know. They even self-sabotaged Helldivers, and no one saw that coming.
Marathon.
Luckily, it came back.
Given their current player counts, are trending towards what I would consider to be catastrophic lows. Raging at Steam charts and rolling your eyes when folks look at the player numbers, it's not going to change reality.
Nope.
Seasons launching and promises about Marathon being around for years, it doesn't really matter if the player numbers get too low.
Yep.
We know from a Bungie GDC presentation that while they were actively making content and making assurances to the public that they were internally facing the reality of a game heading toward numbers that were not sustainable, and yet all seemed well from the outside.
Which is something to note, because this year they were supposed to do a GDC on Marathon, and they canceled both of them. That's right. They were going to do a GDC on Marathon, and they canceled both of them. I wonder why.
Outside looking in. The same could be true for Marathon and Destiny 2 right now. You will hit numbers that cannot be fixed, that you can't come back from. And those were numbers in Destiny 2 that fell from much higher places.
Almost 4 million players.
Continues to fall from a much lower starting point. And Destiny 2 is also equally hitting record low player counts. This is why I think all of this could be the perfect catalyst for what always needed to happen for a proper Destiny sequel. It's no secret that what happened to Destiny 1 was nothing short of a disaster as a lead-up to launch. The supercut was rejected, they had to chop up the game and delay it for an entire year. They had already been dealing with delays up to that point, and then it was a barren and very disjointed launch. Then, while they were actively trying to save Destiny 1, they were building Destiny 2 so that it could launch in 2017. That's just 3 years after Destiny 1 released. In hindsight, that seems crazy that they were building the second Destiny so that it could launch just 3 years after the first one. Now that we look at the cycle of building games and live service, that seems insane that they were trying to do that. The only way to build a proper Destiny sequel is to break this cycle. That's basically what they did with Destiny 2. They decided, well, we're not going to make Destiny 3. We're just going to keep adding to Destiny 2. Well, the best way to build Destiny 3 is to pull everybody off of Destiny 2. Yep. You've got to do it from that very, very beginning part. You've got to set Destiny 2 out to sea. Let it coast. Lean it with a live stream, a live team. Let them...
Here's my thought. The moment you'd say that Destiny 2 is going to have end of support, it's going to get the Halo Infinite treatment where everyone's just going to... Most people will stop playing it. Or actually, I think Halo Infinite has a better shot at surviving longer. Essentially, why continue to collect loot and play game outside of, I just want to play it? Most people are going to step away because it's like Anthem. Anthem, they said no more updates, people stopped playing. The only reason people came back, like me, who'd never played it, or they went back for one last hooray to say goodbye to it when it shut down. And I think that is the real reality, is that the moment you say, okay, it's official, boom. And that looks bad because right now Bungie is cranking out MTX and they want the stupid people to continue swiping the card because they need that passive revenue. The moment you say, okay, we're done, Who's gonna buy? Who's gonna spend money on this game anymore? Who's gonna swipe their card? Who's gonna be, only the really, really stupid people are gonna go after the MTX. And so it's kind of deceptive that if it comes out in June that this is the final hurrah, that means all these months they've been milking players for as much money. And I will be there to make a video to shit down their throat for the scummy practices. I will make that video. I will. I'll put it on the calendar. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But if they're going to milk people and give no update and then decide, okay, here's a June update, we're ending Destiny 2, fuck you. That's a piece of shit move. That's all I have to say about that.
Basically barely keep the game afloat, and then enter into a deal with PlayStation for funding so that you are not financially dependent on Destiny 2's revenue anymore. And then get to work. You have over 12 years of experience and data and experiments to inform how you build Destiny 3. Much of what made Destiny 1 great in its twilight years was never implemented into Destiny 2 at launch. Well, why? Well, it was too late. Much of what they had already built for Destiny 2 could not be retroactively changed, as they had those late stages of Destiny 1 content being highly praised by the community. This is the biggest advantage that Destiny 3 would have. It would be starting from square one with an enormous head start, which that sounds backwards, right? By not starting at all on Destiny 3 just yet, they would have a huge head start. Well, how is that possible? Well, because nothing is built. Every quest, every mission, every story element, loot tables.
They essentially can learn everything. They can take all the raw information right now and apply it immediately. Versus Destiny 2 was already in production when they learned about, again, I think it was in the middle or when the Taken King was launched that they were working on Destiny 2. And so a lot of things were already set in stone. Whereas there's really nothing going on with Destiny, 2 right now. And they know that everyone fucking hates the portal. Well, we know never to put that in Destiny 3.
Skill tree or ability decision that they make. It can all be made with 12 years of knowledge and insight behind it. Pitfalls can be avoided. Systems or ideas that can't scale beyond 3 years, those can also be avoided. Much of what they did in Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 was with the idea that the game only really needed to last for 3 years.
Yep.
So nothing was really built so it could scale beyond that. That's a terrible way to build an ongoing game now that we look at how long these games can go. That led to all the troubles they faced in Destiny 2 when they said, listen, we're just going to keep adding to Destiny 2 instead of launching D3. Well, all that lack of scalability started...
Well, no. That led to the removal of content, and then the okay, now we're going to continue adding stuff to it.
Rear its head. These are all things that a Destiny 3 could avoid. They could also consider a new engine, one that has more content agility. Tiger's great. It has a great feel. The gunplay feels amazing, but it is painfully obvious that it is not an agile engine at all. And that brings us to the last advantage that they could have this time around. Silence. They could go silent and say nothing and just get to work. Let the public move on to somebody else to hate or somebody else to watch slowly crash and burn. And then you surprise everybody with a teaser or an announcement, 3 or 4 years from now. Distance and silence are great allies to a company in Bungie's current situation.
I think this is true and also false. I think this is true for a game like Cyberpunk, where they put their head down, they fix the problem, they release it. It is a massive success. But they also had a successful game in Witcher. Again, we're 2 strikes. Bungie has murdered their reputation, and that's context. If it was any other company, they might have a shot. We're talking about Bungie, who has murdered their reputation, destroyed goodwill, disrespected the consumers. They have dragged things through the mud. People will not forget. They will not let go. They will not come back, Bungie, with arms open, except for the Bungie ball fondlers, which is a small population. Millions of people will say, fuck Bungie still. That's something that they have to overcome. And you can go silent, but I don't think it's going to change it.
Lots of people don't like you right now. Current Destiny fans are frustrated. Old fans don't like you very much. Jilted fans, there's just a bunch of people out there that just hate you regardless, right? The best way to win those
Because of
people
Halo.
back or to change the
You left
public's
Halo.
perception
Fuck you.
is with distance,
I don't know.
silence, and then a quality product, which is something Destiny 3 could do that both Destiny 1 and 2 never could. They were never given the opportunity to go silent and just focus on the quality. They were always...
Again, this is a big problem, though, is that this is not, they're not going to stop being mad because of all the years. I'm talking about, if this was like a fuck up like Cyberpunk, people were more generous with Project CD Red. This is Bungie. It's a question of, do they deserve a third chance? Do they deserve it? And most people will say, fuck no.
Trying to do both at the same time. So where does Bungie go from here? Well, my hope, which is weird to say this, I hope they survive and thrive, because the alternative is another massive loss of talent and a vacancy in the gaming development market that I don't think we would see filled, because it would be unlikely to see it filled anytime soon. Like the size and the scope and the knowledge and what they would be able to build, you're not going to see another studio do that. Plenty have tried. A bunch of companies and a bunch of teams have tried to do the live service looter thing, and they have failed. We always said the only thing that could kill Destiny was Bungie, and that's more true now than ever it has ever been before. They're the only ones that could do it, and they're kind of doing it right now. But there's something else that feels very true at this moment. If the only thing that could kill Destiny was Bungie, in a strange twist of irony, the only thing that can save Bungie is Destiny. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below, or make sure you're here for a live stream. I'd love to see you guys.
Overall, like, I agree with some of what he says. I don't think Destiny is going to have, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see Bungie themselves doing it. And I don't think that Destiny itself is the reason why no one would take up the mantle, is because it's flawed. The only one even relatively near the ballpark is Warframe. And they have a successful model. They have a successful community. But even then, that community is still a niche. It's still a niche, but it works. It's successful for what it is. And that's the problem, is, will Bungie or Sony ever be okay with a niche? Which is the question about Marathon right now. Digital Extremes, they have grown and they've popped off, but it's still a niche. Warframe's still a niche. I mean, we even think about Tarkov, the hardcore extraction. It's a niche, and Battlestate is completely content with that. They released it on Steam, but they're not, right now, we don't know if they're trying to put it on console. They're okay with where they're at with that. But you can't say that for, billion-dollar companies like Bungie and Sony, where money talks. I don't know. I don't have the answers. It's one of those things, and sit and wait and see, and just kind of watch it, report, and see how it goes. I would love a Destiny 3. If we could get the classic vibe of Destiny 1 into Destiny 3, and it be like Forsaken level on launch. That's the one thing we've never gotten, was a Taken King, a Forsaken, hell, I would even take a Final Shape size content launch. We've never gotten a Destiny launch like that. Never. It would be spectacular. But I have no faith that Bungie can do it. Zero. Zip. Nada. I just don't. I'll hold my breath. Would I give Destiny 3 a shot? Abso-fucking-lutely. As much as I hate fucking Bungie, my love and passion and desire for Destiny 3 outweighs my pure hatred for Bungie. But would I invest the same amount of time that I did in Destiny 1 and Destiny 2? Fuck no. I would enjoy it, but I would be so fucking filthy casual with it, because if they fuck up the game, I can walk away and not give a fucking shit about it. That, I've learned my lesson twice. Well, actually, Destiny 1 was fine. Destiny 2, I learned my fucking lesson. Don't spend 13,000 fucking hours in a game only for them to literally drag their balls across your face and say, suck my dick. And that's pretty much what they did to the Destiny community. Overall, we'll have to wait and see. But at this point, I think it's copium to think that we get a good Destiny 3. I want to be proven wrong. That would be the best timeline. But I think the timeline that exists, Bungie doesn't. Let me know what you think. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Now, if you excuse me, my hair, for those people who keep saying my hair's greasy, it actually is greasy because I just got off work. You know, that thing when you get out of your house, you actually do labor and you actually build a sweat. Yeah, I have one of those jobs. I'm going to go take a shower. So I'll see you later.